got some of these old cotton sheets that, as you know, I never throw anything away. And I wanted to try and do something a little bit different with them. So what I'm going to do is cut any of the hems off here so I haven't got the doubled over bits. I keep everything. Well, I always say I'm not a hoarder, I'm a crafter, but I am a hoarder. I'm going to see if I can do something fun and pretty with these. They're 100% cotton, these ones. And they're old. Not worrying too much about whether I'm cutting it square or anything like that. What I'm going to do is make a 3D picture, abstract picture. I've got a piece of board here, and it's a canvas board that I've used once before, and I didn't like what I did for it, and I just put it to one side. Again, never thrown anything out. And I'm going to really see if I can make something quite 3D with this on this board. I think that might be too much material, so I'm going to cut a bit more off that and keep it, obviously. I'm not going to throw it away. Yeah, I think that's a better size. Yeah, I'm much happier with that. So what I'm going to do first, before I do anything else, is dump this into some water, because I want this to be damp but not sopping wet. It is clean, it's been through the wash machine on a complete cleaning cycle. But I want it to be damp all the way through. Not sopping wet, but just damp. And that way it's going to absorb what I'm going to do next. Much easier. There we are. So what I'm going to do now is mix up some Resincrete. But I'm going to mix it up slightly differently to how I would normally mix it up. I'm going to be using 250 grams of actual Resincrete itself, and then I'm going to use a 40 gram to every 100 grams of Resincrete, so 10 grams more. So I need 100 grams of water, and the reason is I want this to be a little bit more liquidy than it would normally be for casting. So there we go, that's 100 grams of water. Now I'm going to mix that in really well using my fork. There we are, and that's got all the lumps out. And the reason I've added a little bit more water to it is it's going to absorb a bit better into cotton, but also what it's going to do is take a bit longer to cure up. Now I could have put gloves on, but I didn't. And what I want to make sure is that that is all in there, that there's no bits without it in. Right, and now that's in there, and what I'm going to do is now mix up a little bit more, but with the normal mix. That shouldn't cure yet, because we've got a lot more water in it. I'm going to mix up 150 grams, there we go. And I need 45 grams of water now for this one. The reason I'm doing this is going to be thicker, and it will cure harder. There we are. And that's already started to absorb in there really well. And that's nicely covered on there. Now I can pop that on there like that, start moving this around to how I want it. Making the patterns and the texture and making sure it covers the whole board. Don't matter that it overlaps, because I can trim that off afterwards. I'm just playing around here, seeing what different shapes look like until I get to the shape that I actually want it to be. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. Actually, I'm just going to soften this off a little bit there. Rub down some of the parts as well to make sure I've got a good adhesion to this board. And now what I'm going to do is leave that for a couple of hours to dry. Well, this has now had about an hour and a half to dry, and the reason I've come back now is because it is starting to really set up. But what I want to do is, before I do anything else, is get rid of some of this excess all the way around while I can still cut through it with my scissors. As you can see, it's starting to hold its shape, and then it will be much easier for me to tidy up these ends. Well, this is all lovely and dry now. It's been sitting here in total for about 5 hours. All these bits are nice and firm, but obviously they're a bit fragile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this using the matte sealer. I'm not using the gloss sealer, because I don't want it to have a shiny finish to it yet, because I want the next stage to really adhere to it. So, but I don't want to brush this on or anything like that. So what I thought I'd attempt to do is spray this on using a mister bottle. Oh yeah, that is working really well. That is misting on there very, very well. So all I'm doing is going over the whole thing like this, including the edges, and then I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll go over it a second time, and that should seal that in nicely and give it a bit more strength as well, and then allow me to do what I want to do next. I'm going to turn it round and then spray all over it again from this side. I couldn't have got a smaller mister bottle, honestly. I thought these were about 6 or 7 times bigger than this. So there, that's done. What I'm going to do is leave that for about half an hour, let that dry, and then go over it with a second coat. So before I do anything else, what I'm going to do is give this a spray. And I'm going to spray this red. You could keep it this colour. You do it white, you could do it all one colour. But I'm going to do it red, and then I'm going to do some highlights through it, because I've got something in my mind that I want to do with it. I'm going to put a mask on before I use it. I'm spraying inside as well. So now I'm going to leave that probably overnight to dry. Now this is all lovely and dry, and it has firmed up really well. There are a couple of bits on it that are slightly soft, but not too bad. What I want to do is finish this off. Now I've got an idea in my mind, and I'm going to be using this. Now, if Vincent Ferrari is watching this, then he'll know what I'm talking about. He suggested I buy one of these, and I bought one about 3 years ago, and it's a cordless airbrush. And as you can see, I haven't even unpacked it, and I literally have had it a good 3 years, so it's going to need charging and all sorts of things, I'm sure. Now when I brought this, it wasn't that expensive, and it was called, at that time, a new product, but I doubt it is now. So this is it, and I also bought the airbrush paints as well at the same time. So having never used it, I'm going to have to read the instructions, and then I can see how well it goes. Well, I've read the instructions, it's fully charged now, and what I'm going to do is pour some of my ink into there. I'm using black. Now, I'm not going to clean this out in between each go, because I don't think I need to. I don't mind if it's going to blend in. But what I am going to do is have a quick practice. That's coming out quite nice. So the closer you get, the more fine a line you get, and the further away, the more spread out you get. Now there is a newer one that's got a trigger here, so you don't have to pull this bit. And this isn't sponsored in any way at all. They don't even know I have one. Right, chosen me colours. I've got a rough idea on how to use this. So now I'm going to start doing what I want to do. I'm going to use the dark in places like this, and then to go around putting some dark in. I've done all my shading now of the darker colours, and what I'm going to do is go over this now with some orange and bring out some of this with the orange. Going over some of that black and highlighting it throughout. And I'm putting it heavier in some places than others. Well, I've gone over it now with the orange, and now what I'm going to do is brighten it up a lot now with some yellow. Well, I've finished that now, and I really like it. I like it with the highlights on. It's just something a little bit different. I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like up against the wall. Well, there we go. I've put it on the wall. I think it looks great on the wall. It's just very different. I think if I was going to do another one, I'd probably do it in blues and things like that, or maybe rainbow. Who knows? I'm really pleased with it. It works so well. I love the little airbrush, but to be honest, for this amount of airbrushing, it did run out of charge, and I had to wait then a couple of hours to charge it up, and then that was a bit of a faff. And also, after spraying it for quite a while, the end got clogged. I don't know if that's normal for airbrushes. I don't know how people airbrush all day. Maybe they have lots of different ends. Let me know in the comments if you use a lot of airbrushing, and give me some tips as well, because I really would appreciate that. Also, you could use this just for adding bits of texture on your abstract art or multimedia art as well, and I think it would work so well for you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making this. I've absolutely loved every minute of it. Be sure to check out the video I've got coming up next. I think you'll love that. I love having an eclectic mix of things that I just enjoy making on this channel. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your crafting. Take care. Bye.